Afternoon, good evening, good morning, guys. We're all live. This is Let's Talk NFL, and this is the NFC West Roundtable.
The world still hitting them corners and them lolos, girl. Still taking my time to perfect.
It's the call of the Cardinals, the call of the Reds.
There's only one team, and they're the Seahawks.
Corners.
I told you it was bad, boys.
Hey,
Told you
I
it was
like
bad.
it.
I like it.
It's
Yeah, a little bit
Again,
from everything. It was
a
kind
little
of
bit of everything. Just
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
it was
threw it
funny,
together.
though.
I
Yeah, I
thought,
like
let's
that.
go for it, right? And let's be honest, we were all bouncing along to the Dre bit. Everything else was just kind of extra. So appreciate everyone joining us. We've got JT. Nice to see you again, JT. How you doing?
Good.
Good, man. We've got Bo. Bo's joining us as a die-in-the-walls Seattle fan. I'm going to go with Bo.
Yeah, I tend to be a little more of a realist, but yeah, you know.
Yeah. Everything's
all we can
going to
be.
do.
That is all we can be around here.
And we got Sam joining us from the LA side, as you can tell from his handle there. Sam's a Rams fan. He's from the UK, just like myself. And then we got Big Mike sitting in. You might be wearing black and white today. Big Mike playing referee between a lot of us.
How y'all doing, I guess?
Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good this week. And Jason, I was just literally mentioning just a Bo before you jumped on. I thought this week was all going to be about Cardinals. Thought it was going to be a Cardinals week. You know, you kind of did a Robbie Anderson signing. You played well on Thursday night. Everything was back. D-Hop had come back. You'd smashed the Saints, and then something happened.
Oh yeah, you had to have that attention on you.
It's all about
I do appreciate the fact that you gave us a Thursday night football that we wanted to watch.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Those primetime games have been horrible.
It's been bad.
Actually, the game that was worth staying up for finally happened. You just thought the whole Friday was going to be about Cardinals, and yeah, as you say, the guys at the Bay just had to go and do something just even bigger.
Well, that's how California girls do it, right? They always got
to always got to go one up, right? Always
right, Big Mike.
Yeah. He knows. So, Jason, honestly, it's been a great week for the Cardinals. You picked up Anderson before all the other trades. That was a good one because I think one of your other receivers went down with a foot injury, didn't they?
Yep. Hollywood Brown did. Yep.
So is he out for the season, or is it just a 6 weeks? Or
yeah, 4 to 6 week injury is the time frame they're putting on it.
You gotta be loving that D-Hop came back when he did that.
Oh,
that was huge.
Yeah, right.
For you guys.
Right.
Huge.
It was bittersweet. You know, D-Hop came back at the right time, but at the same time, Cardinal fans were dying to see D-Hop and Hollywood on the field at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, with Rondell coming out of the slot. So, but hey, in 4 or 5 weeks, we're going to see that. Probably week 14. Hopefully, we'll get to see that.
Yeah, so it was interesting when the Anderson trade. It was like everyone was like, "Surely, where are they going to fit him in?" You got D-Hop back, Hollywood Brown. Yeah. You were like, "Where's Anderson suddenly going to sit?" And then the news broke, obviously, that Hollywood Brown's injury was maybe worse than everyone was initially expecting. So it was almost like a one in, one out. Sounded like a great move, a great deal for the Cardinals to pick that up. Kind of under the radar. I don't think anyone really saw that one coming either.
No, I don't. No, and I think, you know, at first it didn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm not, you know, I think kind of like a lot of people, I'm not a huge Robbie Anderson fan, but, you know, then after hearing about the Hollywood Brown injury, it made more sense. The stat I heard a while ago, I think this was in 2018 when Bridgewater was quarterbacking the Panthers. Before the season started, they talked about Robbie Anderson having he was like top 5 in receptions past 20 yards, right? So long receptions. And Teddy Bridgewater's completion percentage, he was like bottom 5 in completions over 20 yards. So I'm like, that's a horrible marriage, right? Then they go into the season and they lit it up that year. So I really think in that regard, I think it's going to work out really well here because I think Kyler's obviously a great quarterback. And one thing he does do is that completion percentage and that long ball is sweet. So once they can, you know, get on the same page, only had 1 target for no receptions on Thursday, but again, he'd only been here for 3 days. So
he'd only been in the state for what, 2 days? And
2-3 days. So I definitely see that improving, and hopefully that can bridge the gap until Hollywood gets back.
as long as Kingsbury allows Murray to do what he does.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of the blame, right, is going on Cliff, and I think Cliff, has a lot to bear in the play calling and how the obviously how the script, how we get started goes. But I also think that Kyler, and I'm a huge Kyler fan. I think he's the best quarterback we've had here in Arizona, legs and arm combined. I love Kurt Warner and Carson Palmer, but Kyler is to blame as well. People blame our offensive line and talk about how crappy our offensive line is. Well, through 7 games, Kyler Murray's only been sacked 15 times. And you may say, well, he's a running quarterback. He can just evade that pressure, right? Well, here's some other rushing quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes. This is through 6 games, guys. Mahomes, he's been sacked 11 times. Jalen Hurts, he's been sacked 15 times. Justin Fields, he's been sacked 23 times. So I think our offensive line is doing good enough. I think Cliff is doing the best he can, but I think Kyler, his decision making needs to improve.
I think some of the reason your line gets some hate is because they're so inconsistent. Like they'll have quarters, or they've even had a couple of full games where they've looked really good, and then the next week they come out and just fall flat.
Well, really,
you can say that about.
You can say that about any team. You can say that. I mean, look at the Saints, right?
Any team in this division.
That's the top 5 defense.
Yes.
Man, we made them look like a bottom 5 defense, right? And really, the only game as far as pass protection goes that old line has not held up is against your Seahawks, right?
Yeah.
We gave up 5 or 6 sacks. Every other game, we've averaged about 2 sacks a game, less than 2 sacks a game. So, again, are they great? Absolutely not. But again, they're a lot of injuries, so we're dealing with, trying to piece things together. We've lost guys for the season. We're trying to, piece things together, but Kyler can also do his part too.
Well, it's as you say. What season is his 3rd season now as a starter?
This is his 4th, yeah.
4th season. So you'd expect that level of improvement in decision making and
don't get me wrong.
I mean,
he absolutely has improved leaps and bounds. Absolutely, his leadership, everything. I mean. 2 games ago, he ran 10 times for 100 yards. We lost that game. But, I mean, again, he's trying. You can see him. And that, in the game on Thursday, everybody saw the interaction between him and Cliff and the passion come out. I kind of like that. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I like that. I thought it was a tad bit disrespectful for Kyler, in front of everybody to talk like that too. But, hey, listen, I love the passion. There's the 2 guys that want to win at all costs. Cliff was probably thinking, hey, my job's on the line, right? And Kyler's like, calm down. We got this.
Listen, two things. That passion, everybody takes that as a negative sign. That's not. You got to get heated sometimes to make each other better. Like you have to get at each other's throats a little bit just to emphasize, hey, we're here. Let's keep pushing.
I'm a coach, and I get that heated in games, and they're 5 and 6 years old.
Listen, I do that with basketball. I coach basketball 19 years, and I'm the same way.
Yep.
And look, number 2, being a mobile quarterback doesn't absolutely mean you're escaping every sack. You might get sacked more.
Sometimes you run into them.
You're running east and west, not north and south type stuff. Like, so that mobile quarterback criteria, that they're probably getting sacked more. You said someone had 23 sacks. I bet that's up there, highest in the league right now.
Yeah, it's
that's the Bears.
That's what I'm saying.
They're bad. They're bad.
Yeah, they are really bad.
and yet we lost to them. So it's like, and that's as you say, Jason, that inconsistency. You guys, as you say, the Seahawks defensive line ran all over you guys and sacked Kyler 5-6 times.
Which was crazy because our D line has not been good, especially after we've made the change to the 3-4 defense. We've allowed so many rushing yards. It's actually why Kyler ended up with 100 yards. Is because we can't stop anything up the middle.
I'm sorry, but your defense is horrible all around.
So bad.
Made you guys
so bad.
Amazing. From Geno Smith to that defense, we just made you guys look amazing. And
to be fair, our secondary is coming along nicely. The secondary has looked pretty solid, but that D line is terrible.
Yeah.
The secondary looked good because you're ending up unfortunately most teams are running like 8.
You got
9
Woolen
yards
out
on
there. That kid's a
Yes.
monster.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is Woolen's coming into it.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a fumble recovery and 4 picks in 4 games. I mean, you can't really argue with results there.
Yeah.
So I think it's safe to say, Bo, you're probably from all of the teams in the division, your ones are the surprise package, considering the MAGA trade.
sure.
Everyone
Without a
expecting
doubt.
you to be, everyone expecting you to be kind of down the bottom, just kind of aiming for first round draft picks.
Yes, I expected
apart.
CJ Stroud and Bryce Young to be there next year, and that case is
Doesn't
almost
look that way at all.
closed.
And in the NFC West, you might have the best quarterback play right there in Seattle, right?
Yeah, which is crazy in itself.
That is.
Never in
That
a
is
million years
definitely
would I have bought
crazy.
that before the season started.
No, before the season, I was like, I mean, I had better expectations for our team than a lot of people did. I was figuring we were a 7-win team, and I kind of still think we're a 7-win team.
Yeah.
But I was expecting our offense to be worse, but our defense to be better than it is. I was not expecting us to be giving the Lions a run for their money on the worst defense in the league to start the year. But that's where we were. So now the good thing about that is everything we see is an improvement, right?
Can only go one way. And Sam, from your point of view, in an inconsistency, I guess, Super Bowl winning, sort of reigning champions, etc., etc. I know we've talked about the O-line taking a few beatings, losing your, Whitworth and a few rookies and a couple of injuries, as you mentioned there, Jason. I think everyone in the trenches is dealing with some nasty injuries right now, but the Rams haven't really hit their straps. A couple of your players have been slightly disappointing and missing most games. I suppose we talked about that the other day.
Yeah, we've now again just lost Note Boom to a season-ending injury. So that's another O-liner down and out for the season.
But is that really a bad thing?
Yeah, because our whole thing is purely pass offense. We have no O-line to protect Stafford.
I heard a stat the other day. 2022, Note Boom was giving up more pressures already than Whitworth gave in 2021 all year long.
Ooh.
Ouch.
Crazy.
That's a tough stat to bear.
I think that's probably more to do with
Whitmore.
how good Whitworth was than necessarily how bad Note Boom is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
some of that's on Stafford too, huh?
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, especially since he only targets Cup.
Yeah,
That's
right.
the problem. You got Allen Robinson, and he doesn't seem to be using him. He'd be out there
Cup
wide
and
open,
Higbee.
15 yards spread out, and he's not. I don't know.
Down by 3, it's the Cup and Higbee show.
Yeah.
I was having a chat with one of my friends who's a Seahawks fan, and we were saying that when he goes through his sort of reps and his, I suppose is who he's going to throw to. Cup's his first one, and the moment that O-line just falls apart, he has to throw it to him. And I think whereas Robinson's probably more like would be maybe his second or his third or his fourth. So he's never actually getting to look at Robinson to see that he's open because he's so focused on Cup and he has to just do the ball. So yeah, it's a weird one. It really is. And I mean it just shows because we're 3-3, and I think getting rid of Akers is going to be the next part of it. And
with that whole debacle going on there. Well, you know what's crazy? Why don't they use Cup like the Niners use Samuel? Not totally running back him, but use some plays like that because Cup's fast and he's small, so he's gonna evade tackles just by being short. But he's fast, so why not use him a little bit?
Pretty sure didn't he score a touchdown last week, the week before on a jet sweep or something?
Yeah.
He's what we had. What was it? What was the start we had last week when we beat the Panthers? It was we had 7 different people out the backfield that actually gained yards, which is just insane. And I think only maybe 2 of them were actual running backs.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense though because the Panthers are terrible. Like you could have thrown a jersey on someone in the stands and gained yards.
No,
But they need to start using that against other teams. I mean, just going into week 8, we know how good the Niners are at defending.
Mm-hmm.
Just you've
Well,
got to
not
start
against the
using-
Falcons, evidently.
No. It
No.
depends on which Niners turns up. And
Everybody's
which week,
making
because,
Mariota look like
I
amazing.
mean, Mariota was like back to his kind of college days against us. You know, it's like he was Heisman Trophy winner.
I heard a rumor that Kyle Pitts got a touchdown. Now,
He did?
I don't know if that's
He
just
did.
a rumor or what.
I needed to see a replay 2 or 3 or 4 times to understand it. And
It's amazing they
realize
are not using him. Like, it doesn't seem like London's even getting involved, but
I
the
still
talent
can't
over
fathom
there.
the 2 biggest sort of receiving duo, you know, as
Yeah.
tight end receivers.
that's
Just, you know,
huge.
just throw it up there. But I think he's only throwing it 25 times maximum a game. So
Mariota,
he's not using. Yeah.
and running.
They're using that run game over there, and it's
Yeah.
people that aren't even big names, like guys you don't know, and then Cordell Patterson. Once he's back, like that's a whole nother thing.
Well, I think they're trying to transition the Tyler Azil kid, the rookie, but I also think they're trying to limiting the throwing. I think it's almost like Jimmy G, right? They're trying to limit the mistakes, kind of limit those mistakes, and they want him throwing about 25 times a game. Just like Jimmy G, he's throwing a lot, 30, 35, 40 times a game, that's not a good thing.
The risk factor just goes through the roof there, doesn't it? Obviously.
It's kind of like a double-edged sword. So when you guys got CMC, and when I heard about that, and you stole our thunder, stole our spotlight, got all the attention, right? I honestly,
did we pick up a trade this week?
I don't know about the rest of the guys, but honestly, I wasn't concerned at all. And this is why. What running back in the NFL has had the most problems staying healthy in the last 5 years?
Yeah.
Probably CMC and maybe Saquon Barkley, would you say?
Yep.
Okay. What NFL team has had the biggest problem keeping their running back healthy?
Ravens or Niners.
If you're a Cardinal fan, that sounds like a perfect marriage.
All the running backs get hurt.
It sounds like a perfect marriage if you're a Cardinal fan.
Yeah.
Now,
and that's the one thing. I mean, it's CMC, it's generational. It's he's back home Stanford.
He really is. But if I'm a San Fran fan, I really like it because listen, I don't want Jimmy G to throw a ton. I don't want him to throw a lot downfield. So I'm gonna get the best safety valve and an insurance policy out there.
Yep.
Christian McCaffrey. If all
give me a
else
check
fails,
down, give me a screen,
I'm going to check it
just dump
down,
it up. Yep.
and he's going to go 25, 35 yards. So, that's something.
Well, especially when you get to pair him with Debo, who can do the exact same thing. That can be a scary combination for sure.
I mean,
and we were just talking about Brandon Ayuk, and then he scores 2 touchdowns, right?
Yeah,
we were just talking about Brandon Ayuk. So if
Brandon Ayuk being quiet, not really getting into things, he scores 2. The matchup now when you put our offense together, you kind of go, you got Ayuk, you got Samuel, then you got CMC, and then if Kittle starts to actually play and starts to get targeted, how do you match up against that? And then if you match up those 4, great, we'll just throw Juszczyk out in the slot. It's like the weapons are there. It just does Kyle now kind of open up the playbook now that he's got
I think so.
We know that. I think Carl's always wanted a running back like that. I know he tried to get Jet McKinnon, never worked out, injuries and whatever else. He's never had that kind of all-purpose utility guy who can do it all. Now he's got it. Does he kind of go? Now the special playbook comes out. Now it doesn't matter. Now it doesn't matter who's under center because
how's the signing of McCaffrey going to affect Mitchell? Obviously, I know he's on IR at the moment, but he is going to come back.
Due back
week
10 or 11.
He was meant to be the next, I suppose, lead running back for.
You got to do that 1-2
He was supposed to be the next Trey Sermon. Wait, how did that go?
Exactly right.
It's like he's the next 3rd round pick that we just run through and break and throw away almost. I don't know. I don't know.
CMC a breather. That's it.
You got to do that 1-2 punch. Put the CMC in the slot. I mean. Cleveland does that same thing with Hunt and Chubb. You can do that. You can do that move because Hunt goes out and catches the ball if need be. I think they could really do that with Mitchell and CMC.
I don't think Mitchell's a 1-2 punch. I mean, from a Chubb perspective, if we're looking at that, that's the new rookie. That's TDP. He's been brought in. He's a bigger, bulkier. He's more the smash it out the middle guy for the first 2 rounds, and then we throw in CMC or whatever. But he's not used him as of yet because he's also been injured. So as you say, it's our running back. It's like Mitchell's been out.
That is really your kryptonite is injury because your defense is hitting injuries at the wrong time. You're everywhere on the field. It seems like it's an injury every week with the Niners.
Every week, it just
you guys could be such a dominant team if you were just healthy.
Absolutely.
Healthy and consistent. Healthy and consistent. We lose to the Bears, then we beat the Seahawks, then we lose, and then we win, and then we lose, and then we win. It's like, and then we've got an easy task this week as well. Not a problem of a big team coming to town, and a team that's flying. But it sounds like Bosa might be back. Sounds like Williams is close to kind of returning. So.
It's fine. You've got us next week, so even if you lose this week, you'll probably win next week.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'd take a loss against the Chiefs and beat the Rams to give us a 3-0 divisional into the bye week. I'd take it. I'd go 4-4 with the 3-0. That would be,
we can't even
the best.
We can't even beat the Niners in regular seasons anyway. So
that's true.
There's that.
There is that.
Although the Rams beat us every time, even when we were. In contention for Super Bowls, for whatever reason, we can't beat the Rams.
Yeah, we had this a couple of weeks ago, didn't we, Jason, where we talked to the Cardinals seem to have the Niners number, the Niners had the Rams number, the Rams has the Seahawks number. So it's always been that kind. It's always been that kind of
and around it goes.
Around and around. who manages to get enough wins at every other place to kind of balance out the wild cards and who wins? Yeah, but this year, we're all kind of hit and miss.
Sort of the divisional. I suppose wins, draws, losses each year, and just see how they compared to like other divisions where you probably see like I don't know, maybe like say the Titans and the Colts probably have quite a lot of 3-4 1s and all of that. I wonder how ours looks in comparison over the years.
Because I would imagine there's a lot of 1-on-1s, wasn't it? I think there's always been like shared sort of we win one, you win one.
Yeah. You guys always had that. You've always had that division that you beat up on each other, but it's not you get 2 wins, you get 2 wins, 0-2-0-2. It's literally we're splitting games and we know that's happening. So if you win the first game, you're automatically in your head thinking, man, all right, this next game, this is where it happens. We lose.
Yep.
You guys got a tough division, just like I feel like the AFC North, like my Browns division. It is tough. The Browns could be trash, but they'll still fight like no other against their division opponents.
Yeah,
that's how it goes with you guys. You guys beat each other up no matter what. Like
I think the 49ers
Super Bowl runs, and
you guys went to the Super Bowl in 2018, correct? In 2018, the Cardinals were probably the worst football team I've ever seen in my life. The head coach was Steve Wilkes, the defensive coordinator was Al Holcomb, poor Carolina, right? And we won exactly 3 games that year. That was the toughest season I've ever sat through in my entire life. 2 of the wins came against the San Francisco 49ers.
Swept us that year.
And the 3rd win came against the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau. Aaron Rodgers has lost exactly twice in Lambeau in December. So every now and then.
And that's the great thing about it's the NFL and specifically our division. It's any given Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, whatever now. But it is it depends on and home field advantage. I think does play a fair part in that.
Right.
Apart from the Rams, because
they don't have any fans.
I know we say Rams house, but it's everyone else's house.
Exactly.
You have an open house, I think, Sam. It's nice. You have a very welcome open house.
Hey, I know you guys probably feel like that, but we just got a home win on Thursday, right, against the Saints. Our last home win was October 24th of 2021 against the Texans. That's the last time the Cardinals had a home victory. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow.
10-2 on the road, our last 12 games, but at home we can't buy a win. So
it's just crazy how that
Thursday,
works,
that stadium was electric because we were winning that game.
And it is amazing that those sorts of stats get lost in the win-loss record of the season.
Swept right underneath the rug. You don't even know.
Like, really? It's been a year since you won at home? And it's just like, Sam, from Sam and I's perspective,
Oh
if we're
no, I
talking
wanted to
from
hang
a-
myself. I felt every bit of it.
It makes you feel bad for season ticket holders.
Yeah.
If it is just from a UK, thinking Sam and I, that's kind of like saying that one of our, Premiership teams haven't won at home in, a season long, and that's like, people would be sacked. People would be losing jobs left, right, and centre if that was the case.
And listen, you wanted to hang yourself for that. Imagine going 0-16 and 1-15. Then the
Yeah,
winning
that's brutal.
at home.
Yeah, that's true. You do win when it comes down to worst case scenario.
Like that was the craziest.
But
Those were the
that was
craziest
only 3
2
years
seasons
ago,
back
right?
to back ever I had to deal with. Like I blew my mind having to do all that. And it's funny when we went 1-15 and 0-16, we lost games by literally 3 points or less through both those years.
Yeah.
But you're still like, man. And then finally we beat the Jets. Baker comes in and we give him some big hurrah because he did that. But that stuff, you're right. The hanging yourself part, you're really like, man, dude, this is nuts.
It's funny because then you went all of those starts without wins and then decided you wanted to lose in the draft also.
Oh yeah. No, Keim does that every single year.
Listen, that's how it's weird because sometimes you feel like, all right, the draft looked good, and then no. And then you're down on it, and it's good. And that's, I don't know, man.
I feel like
I don't
he's
know
been
anymore.
drafting better of late, but yeah, no, Keim, that is not his forte drafting, especially offensive linemen, which is ironic because he played offensive line at NC State. So, but he can't draft an O-lineman to save his life.
First round draft picks are overrated anyway.
Yeah, the Rams think so.
Says the team that doesn't have one until 2030 or something, right?
Yeah, the Niners and Rams. The Rams are like, we'll trade all of them.
Yeah.
For proven players, not a bad strategy, really.
I mean, we're usually terrible at picking them also, so we usually trade out of the first round.
Well,
not a bad strategy.
Goff. That was who we got last in the first round. I think the year before that was Donald. So I suppose swings and roundabouts.
He's not half bad. He can play some football.
Yeah.
Jared Goff's doing okay in Detroit, kind of.
Doing more than
well, I mean, we had Penny in the first round, but he's good for 6 games a year. So those 6 games, he's electric. But the rest of the time, you're just like, cool. Who else we got?
And then you look around, and it's a bit the cupboard's kind of bare.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I suppose when we're starting to talk drafting, you're already thinking, we're coming up to the bye week for most of us. How are you foreseeing the rest of the year for the NFC West? It's definitely, as you say, kind of we're taking wins off of each other. We're inconsistent. O-lines are pretty much decimated for 2-3 of us. Big games coming up, some stretches where it looks like teams could either get lost quite quickly. I think, interestingly, I think the interdivisional scores are going to really be important this year because you say, Big Mike, usually tooth and nail fighting against each other. I think those games are going to have even extra more importance for this season, especially Sam's team struggling on O-line, not finding the weapons, not clicking. Cardinals are finally hitting their straps, get a few of their players back. It's definitely Gino at the front of your the Seahawks, leading the way, covering over maybe your inefficiencies in the D line and your run defense. So it's going to be a battle, I think.
Listen, this whole year for the West has been a flip flop because coming into it, you automatically think, all right, the Rams got players. They got it. They've been there. They've done this. They should be the top of that division. The Niners don't know who they're doing at quarterback at that time. They're throwing everybody in there. All right, we're going to go with this guy. No, this guy. The Cardinals, they had their thing. They made the move. So, all right, you thought they could make some, hey, they can make some noise, but we'll see. And then you had Seattle.
Then they had
who got rid of Wilson and had no quarterback at all. And now it's a total opposite effect here. You have the Niners and the Cardinals battling out, and Seattle's literally right there. And then you have the Rams that are like, if we don't start doing something, we're not gonna win another game if we can't get our offense clicking.
Well, here's the thing: we're all right there, and we're all capable of making that run. right? San Fran
Yeah.
taught us that last year. You guys were horrible the first half of the year. Then you started getting healthy. You really hit your stride. The rest is history, right?
Yeah.
I really feel like the Cardinals, not to be too dramatic, but I feel like when the score was 14-14, then we scored that touchdown to go up 21-14 in Thursday night's game. It was almost like the defense, the offense, the team felt like, okay, we're back.
Wow.
We haven't had the lead for that many minutes this year. And for the first time, we had the minutes against a very good New Orleans Saints team. Yes, they were without Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry, but still a very good team. And we scored, it's 21-14. Then you blink, it's 28-14 going to the half, and we didn't look back. So I really feel like that was a huge turnaround for our offense. They got a lot of confidence. You got Kyle going, Cliff, calm down. We got this. And you know what? We got this. So
that's the
I
moment.
mean, the Saints
we
definitely
go to Minnesota next week, so let's see.
The Saints definitely looked out of sorts after the Red Rifle decided to throw a couple of pick sixes in a row, though.
One wasn't his fault. Callaway hits it up, and then Marco Wilson.
Yeah.
No, I do not like his cornerback play at all this year. Marco Wilson, he's the benefactor of that interception. Takes it in the end zone. The best thing about that interception was his somersault into the end zone. That was a thing of beauty, right?
Yeah,
but
that was pretty great.
Hey, I hate to be critical of the head coach over there with the Saints, but Dennis Allen, I chart the games, and Alvin Kamara, he rushed in the first quarter 7 times for 37 yards, right? Very effective.
Just
5
feeding
yards
the ball for the rest of the game.
The rest of the game, he got the ball 4 times for 12 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta what are you doing over there? Give Alvin
There's a lot of
Kamara
that going
the ball
around, isn't
constantly.
there?
And
I mean, there was a whole thing
we got
that
the
sounds
win.
like the
Golden,
Cleveland Browns
isn't it?
right there. Okay, we don't hand the ball off. We'll throw it. 2nd and 1, throw it.
Just throw it. It's like
Throw it.
come on, you got a quarterback who's just playing. He's just holding station, right? He's just
Best
putting
rusher
himself
in
in
the
a shot
world.
window.
You know what? Throw.
Jacoby Brissett's looking for an extra game. Yeah, come on, he's trying his best to kind of get a new contract. He knows he's only in holding.
See, listen, in that game last week, I really hit the point. I hit the wall where I can't even begin to understand it no more. They are literally on the 30 going in.
Oh, brother, I say that every Sunday.
2nd and 1, they throw it to the end zone. All right, fine. 3rd and 1, they do the same exact play. What? You have Chubb, get the first down, then throw it to the damn end zone if you want to. That's the stuff that drives me insane.
Well, I don't think you should say run the damn ball to Bo. I mean, he's still getting PTSD.
Too soon.
Sorry, still too soon.
That was that was a lot of disappointment. I actually agreed with the throw there, right? Because we only had one timeout. So it made sense because you figure worst case scenario, it's going to be incomplete. Clock stops, not a big deal. But man, couldn't have been executed worse.
It's the throw you put up the top end corner of the end zone where only your receiver can go to. You don't do a quick slant.
Exactly. Well, especially if he comes down, as hard as he did, there's a chance that he catches the ball and stuck on the one anyway. So it wasn't a great play call, but I mean, a pass there made sense, just not that one.
Well, poor execution too.
Yeah, it's always the way. It always comes down to that. Hindsight is a wonderful thing. Run the damn ball became a magic. I mean, you still with Marshawn Lynch, though, as you say, you had one timeout. If he got stuffed, whatever, but he was running all over that team. He just needed to hand the ball. Needed to hand the ball off. So, I know, Jason, you're sitting pretty now. You kind of got your win for the week. You're happy. You're going to get a chance to sit back and watch a few good games. How are you feeling about this week, Bo?
I mean, this is a winnable game. The Chargers really haven't played great. They haven't done anything real consistent. So I feel like we can get this road win, which would be huge for us.
If you can stop them running it, if you can get hold of Eckler for a little bit.
Yeah, it's funny because despite having tons of talent, they really haven't clicked at
Put it
all.
together, yeah.
That's the craziest thing. That is the crazy. You have two good runners, and your best game was against, again, my Browns. But what? Why haven't they been able to do all this? What? Because Allen's out, but Seattle can definitely walk up in there and punch him straight in the face and take that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
especially if you can get up ahead.
Well, especially if we, because we have receivers that can take the top off. So,
yes.
I mean, there's opportunity there. Our two rookie tackles are actually doing really well on the O line. It's the interior line that's still a little sketchy, but the tackles have been great. So Gino's had some time, and the thing that's nice with him is he'll actually use a check down throw, so we can pick up first down.
Which is unusual for you guys for the last 10 years.
Absolutely.
But I think, as you say, that's a winnable game. If you can get in, you can get 2 scores up early against the Chargers, force them to then take on your secondary, which, as you say, is probably the strength of your defense. That's got to be the way forward because, as you say, they're not using their run game. Get a few hits into Herbert's ribs again, because why wouldn't you? Because if he's still suffering, and every defensive coordinator's got to be thinking the same against the Chargers.
Yep.
It may be one of those, as you say, go in, punch it in the mouth, make them throw against your secondary, and you could be in for a nice surprise.
The thing that worries me a little bit is because we're using that 3-4 defense, and our D line has been bad enough that we brought the outside linebackers down and basically had a 5-man front, albeit undersized, which is why we still can't stop the run. What it does open up is seam routes, especially to the tight end, and tight ends have tore us up. And so if Herbert's going to get us, that's probably how he would do it.
And Gerald Everett stepped up big time for them.
Yeah.
Well, you know Gerald Everett pretty well, though, surely. You know his kind of game, right? You'd think so. And Sam, you're sitting pretty, hopefully getting some few guys back healthy on the bye week.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing Van Jefferson back of all of them. I think Van Jefferson's going to unlock that. He's that deep ball threat that fair enough, it won't matter if, he doesn't have the time to throw it, but it gives, I think it'll unlock Allen Robinson more. That's what I'm hoping is that that ball threat will allow, obviously will be, we'll pull out the cornerback or the safety, and then it'll leave Robinson open to make a few sort of the short passes, which I think will not only help him, it'll help Kupp, it'll help just the team in general. So,
and you need that, don't you? You need that Jefferson speed because it opens up, it just stretches it and gives you those layers of sort of passing lanes and layers of different routes that can run. Because you say at the moment, without that, take the top off, you're all kind of in the same, little section. You're all your receivers are running the same routes in the same sort of 10, 15 yards and whatever else. And then, as you say, Stafford sees Kupp and goes, Kupp. Somebody else.
It also lets those safeties cheat because they don't have to respect anybody over the top.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
They got to step back.
Any rumors on what you guys might get for Cam Akers?
I've not.
A couple of third rounders apparently is the going rate.
Yeah, to be honest,
if I was Buffalo, I'd send you guys a 3rd rounder for Cam Akers.
I mean,
they need a running game bad.
I would honestly take. I mean, Akers isn't gonna be in the game at all for us ever again. I'd take what we can, and I would then use it to get O-liners for next year. And as good as it is that we trade our picks for these wonderful players that all
big name stars in the 1 year.
There needs to be an element that we start using these 2nd and 3rd round picks properly, and picking up some good talent who can build around. You can still go and get those big players for your 1st round picks, but you need the 2nd and 3rds if you're going to be getting rid of the 1st. So
you need to be hitting.
We need O-liners, so that'll be that's. I mean, we've got when Bruss comes back, I'll be really happy when I get to see him back on the O-line. But yeah, I think a couple of O-liners if we can get a couple of 3rds, trade them in for O-liners, pick up someone like an old running back who'll just do a job. And I mean, we got Malcolm Brown, but if we can get someone slightly
you got Kyren Williams too, right?
Yeah, well, he's meant to be. I think when was it week
When-
2 or when we lost? Well, no, it was week 1. We lost to the Bills. There was rumors that he was actually going to be Akers' replacement, which was weird to hear now. I mean, obviously it makes more sense now, but I think that might decide whether we
and whether or not you.
I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe use Akers not for another running back and we use him for picks, because I think if you can rely on Kyron Williams, Darren Henderson's been looking really good.
He's taking up an IR spot on one of my fantasy teams, so he better come through.
Yeah. And yeah, you got to think it's, with the Ravens now losing pretty much most of their backfield, they might be shopping around. So that might be. I mean,
Gus the Bus is back though.
That's like an every year thing for them.
Gary, I got a question for you.
For the running back, for
other
sure.
Ravens fans, Gary, do you see other Ravens fans, and do you guys give each other like a nod, like I totally understand what you're going through? Because
we don't. Yeah,
we lose every running back too.
It'd be nice. I mean, there's not that often you kind of see Ravens fans in the UK, but I mean, they are out there. But I mean, obviously, it's in the UK. If you walk past or you're in a store and you see another, team's hat, jacket, whatever, it's more than just a passing nod. You actually, I don't know if Sam does the same, but if I see somebody like wearing a Patriots hat or a jersey or some other team, I'll go and talk to them. I won't just go and nod and smile, because it's not so mainstream. So it's actually more unusual for us to kind of have that. So you go and talk to these, like, did you watch your game? And half the time you walk into them and they're wearing, Giants hats, or they're wearing a Raiders hat, and you go, did you see the game? And they look at you going, you've just found a cap in a sports cap. You have no idea what it means.
Yeah. Although when I fly into another city that's got an NFL team, I make sure I wear a jersey just because it's funny.
Oh yeah. Listen, I moved from Cleveland down towards Cincinnati with my fiance.
Oh, nice.
So I wear my Brown stuff everywhere.
Then I goes down in Ohio and Cincinnati, because that's not a bitter rivalry at all, right?
Right.
Well, see, they get upset because, especially when it comes to the games and we all go. Like last year, we all went, and that's when the Browns, thumped them 40-10. Dude, it's funny seeing the reactions of these guys.
I got a quick question for Sam and Gary. How has the fan base been since? I mean, you guys haven't had the fastest starts. Obviously, you came out the gate, lost to Chicago, Gary, and then the Rams aren't off to the best starts either. I mean, such a great loyal fan base. How have your two fan bases been? Because I know the Cardinals, they're ready to burn Cliff and Steve Keim's house down. So
I'll let you go first, Sam. I'll let you go first.
It's quite fractured. There's a lot of people wanting to get rid of Stafford, which I for me is absolutely baffling. He literally won us the Super Bowl, so to even consider getting rid of him is just ridiculous. I think there are probably more people that don't understand football. But yeah, I think it's frustration more than anything, because it just seems like it's injury after injury. It's things just don't seem to be working as we want it to. Robinson's not been given anything. I mean, there's obviously been a lot of comments about the fact that Stafford and the fact that he's not throwing to Robinson because of the potential issue around him being black. It's like, this is all the stuff that we're seeing. It's like, oh yeah,
that's a crack.
I didn't even hear that one.
He had Megatron for how many years, and that dude lit it up.
Yeah, that's the baffling part about that, because it's people being stupid. But generally speaking, I think it's more like I would say the majority are. It's frustrating, but we can still get through it. We can still beat teams. We can still compete at the top level.
Sure, absolutely.
I think people want to see McVay start, being a bit more aggressive and trying different things. It may not work out, but we can't just be one-dimensional. We can't just keep throwing to Cup. It's not going to work. Well, it might work.
Right.
Seems to be.
I mean, it's tough to go through all your progressions like end up on the carpet all day.
Yeah, it seems like he only trusts Cup and Higby. It seems like he doesn't have that trust factor with Allen and some of the other guys. Just from an outsider looking in, and like when it comes down to crunch time and I need a reception, it seems like he trusts Cup 100% and Higby to a little bit lesser degree.
I mean, me and Gary were talking about this on our other podcast. I think the biggest issue with Stafford is he likes open receivers, and Allen Robinson isn't necessarily. I don't know. He doesn't get the same separation that maybe Cup gets, and I mean, obviously Cup's always double coverage or triple coverage, but he wants. I think I don't think he's not used to the way Robinson plays. He is a physical wide receiver, and he throw it at him and he'll try and catch it. He'll do he'll do everything to catch it, and I think Stafford hasn't got to the point where he can rely on that yet. So maybe it's that. I mean, it may be that
he doesn't want to add the turnovers, and I get that he's trying to stay away from that.
Hey, you had Baker Mayfield
you
had Baker Mayfield forever, so you totally understand that.
Oh yeah, that dude.
Unless the receiver's 4 yards open, he will not throw the ball to him.
What do you mean? Odell could be 50 yards down the field.
Like, no, that's too risky.
That safety's closing it.
Check down.
Yeah, from a Niners perspective, it's been a little different, a little bit extra this year, because I'll just share this. This was Sunday. Brought these guys, and that's not what I wanted to share. It's that one. Is that working? There we go. This was a bar in Leeds on Sunday, where the 49ers themselves actually came along and put on a watch party for the 49er faithful UK.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
It was awesome. It's literally, they had Sourdough Sam, the mascot there. They had the guy. They had Nick Clark, one of the senior fan engagements. They basically took over the bar. Freebies, giveaways, you name it. We had the whole sounds. It was an awesome, and it was sweet. And there's 250, 300 49ers fans in there. So
wow,
completely
awesome.
Different. It was like it's the first time it's happened outside the US. It's the first one in the UK. It was just it was on live on Sky Sports. It was on the gridiron. It was everywhere. It was like one of the biggest events that's happened. They supposed to have done it against the Bears game because the Niners only have 2 6 o'clock kickoffs in the UK, so there's only 2 real games that were sensible. It was the Bears game. Queen died, couldn't really do it. Didn't really want a big party on the same weekend. Kind of made sense. But they fortunate enough they came back and did it again for us. And this was I think this was Ayuk's second TD where we all just went absolutely crazy. But yeah, that was an indication of just what the fan base is like. I think interesting enough, speaking with some of the other guys, is that, I don't know, Sam, you might feel the sort of same sort of way, that we stick with it. It's not so much frenetic. It's not so much up and down. Yes, the social media is there and we can see it. Like, the sack Kyle's got to go. Everyone's got to go when you lost to the Bears or when you lost to the Broncos. I still got. Sorry, that one's still horrible. But the ups and downs doesn't. I don't know if it doesn't translate because from a UK perspective, we're so used to being up and down and roller coaster and following teams, soccer teams, if you like, over here through thick and thin. When you're a kid, that's your team. Doesn't matter if they never won a game, they don't win another trophy. You go through the doldrums, you go up, down. That's your team, no matter what. So the slight difference of sack this person's got to go. It's all his fault that we see from afar. It's like we're kind of looking into it, going, it seems a little dramatic, It's
right.
In effect. So I think the UK fans tend to have a better. I want to say a better perspective, but a more kind of balanced, kind of like not so frenetic. But then again, you flip that around. If somebody said something wrong about my soccer team, I'd just absolutely lose them all. And after the result today, yes, the manager should go. Everybody should go. They should be like throw it all away and burn the place down. So because it's not the mainstream sport, the balance is kind of more
how it works because you guys, and it's not like us. We live and breathe it right here.
Oh yeah,
you gotta have it, but you're like, hey man, this is something fun. It's amazing. It's things that you could appreciate more than we appreciate it, but not as much as like you guys do.
Yeah, and I think it's different for us as well because Sam and I, West Coast offense, West Coast teams, we're up at 2. Most of our games are 1 till 4 in the morning, so we're not going to be bouncing off the walls, tearing things down, screaming, shouting, and the game finishes and you go to bed. And then you wake up the next morning and you've slept, kind of thing, and you kind of a bit more like thought about it and had a chance to kind of mull it over.
Right.
You guys are kind of living it. Sunday afternoon, you've still got hours to digest it, talk about it.
So that was actually the best thing about being in the Pacific Northwest is time zone wise. The last game starts at 5 o'clock, right? So it's or 6 o'clock, I guess. But so the game wraps up, and you're still able to do things. I'm in the Central time zone now, so it's a little different when games are wrapping up at 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
Tried wrapping them up at 5 in the morning.
That's crazy.
That's
You're right.
the appreciation and dedication you fans in the UK have versus what because this is a normal thing. 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock games, but you guys, like you said, 5 in the morning. And you guys stay up and watch it and go through it. I mean, I don't know if the Rams have got the same sort of stuff, but the 49ers groups, they got game threads and game day threads where everyone's chatting about it because you don't want to feel like you're the random weird guy at 3 a.m. up watching a sport. Nobody else.
Right.
I mean, you kind of feel that way, but it's kind of nice to know that there are 300 others out
other
there.
weird guys out there. Yeah.
Got to say it's a little bit more difficult. I don't think we have in the UK as strong a fan base. I think in the Rams. I know in Derby, where I'm actually from, not where I live. There's a big. Well, I say big. There is a Rams contingent of fans because their local team in Derby are called the Rams as well. So people often pick them because of that. But we don't have as big a following as, I think probably, some of the bigger following teams. I mean, the Niners have quite a big following. I think the Vikings have a relatively big following. Packers, obviously, all the Patriots and all of the
Patriots have got a big following because of Patriots and winning and being on TV a lot recently.
And the Tom Brady thing. I think that's kind of I think especially with the move from St. Louis to LA, I think that not many people. You've started to maybe build a new group of fans over in England with it, but. Yeah, it's a lot. I'm that person that sits up on my own watching the match at 3 o'clock in the morning, feeling like I'm on my own. But
I'll invite you to the Rams game day thread, Sam, just for amusement value next week.
Okay. Well, I'll be in London. I'll be in London watching the Broncos Jaguars game. So
of course, that's that Sunday, isn't it? When I mentioned the swag.
Wow, that's going to be a bad game.
Yeah, that's going to be a bad game that one.
Jacksonville's playing some good football lately.
They're a decent team. They're better than they've been.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that Russell will at least be back for that game because at the moment he's not playing this week. It's right.
Yeah, he's out this week, isn't he?
Yeah, I have a friend that's a big Denver fan, so I had to mess with them a little bit. So I told him this is their best chance at a win this week.
It's been a season of backup TV. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Zappe's got to win. Flacco got to win for the Jets. Jimmy's getting in there. It is the backup quarterback season.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just going to show off the swag that the guys brought. So basically, pretty much the white rally towels, the t-shirt, flags, scarves, bags. They name it. They brought so much stuff that everybody walked out of. I got lucky. I kind of won a raffle. Got a Nick Bosa signed football. Little bit happy about that myself. And Joe Nedney, the kicker from the Niners, the last time they were over playing in the UK, they brought Joe Nedney over to talk to us and tell us all about it. So they gave us the full experience. It was awesome.
Joe Nedney's been kicking for a long time.
Yeah. So he signed the mini for me, which I thought was a nice touch.
All right, I'm feeling nauseous. Can we take this off the screen?
Yeah. way too much red and gold there. Way too much. Gents, it's been real fun. This has been a real pleasure. Really nice.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Hopefully you'll come back and do it again next week.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sam, I don't know if you, as you say, you're probably in London next week, so that might be a bit more tricky. But we'll
Well,
work
I
it
mean,
out as we go through the week.
I can always pop on for a little bit, and so I'll be in Belushi's. So
It might be a bit noisy.
Yeah, but we'll
Jets
see.
getting around the world. Wow.
Can't get away from Belushi's. Gents, appreciate your time, Mike. Thanks for sticking with us
always.
and having a chat. Jason,
Yes,
thanks,
sir.
buddy.
Thank you.
You guys enjoy your weekend. Thanks very much.
You too, guys.
You too.
Later.
The world. Still hitting them corners and them lolos, girl. Still taking my time to perfect.
It's the call of the Cardinals, the call of the Reds.
There's only one team, and they're the Seahawks.
Corners and them lolos.